How you guys doing? This is Ghana's number one blogger, Bumi D Mami, and welcome to a special edition of Ghana's number one blogger news. Money Talks FC, bro. Right now, what's going down is you guys already know the Money Talks FC right now, the European Soccer League. Guys, to let you know, I'm gonna have a special guest coming through, and we're definitely gonna chop it up about the European Soccer League. Um, right now, guys, if you didn't know, it was announced on Sunday, which is April 19th, 2021, that there would be a European Soccer League. Sorry, European Super League, which would consist of 12 founding members. Um, a lot has happened in the past 24 hours. A lot of teams that originally signed up basically black out. Um, Let me give you the gist as to the teams that signed up for this league. Um, the Big Six, which is in England: Chelsea, Liverpool, Man City, Arsenal, Man United, the Spurs, Real Madrid of Spain, Barcelona, Atletico Madrid, Juve, AC Milan, Inter. These teams that I just recently called out are the teams that are referred to as the founding members of this European Soccer League. A lot of people are saying that, them coming together doing this is totally unfair because it's really about the money and they're not worried about the fans. And a lot of people are saying that, they're trying to run UEFA and FIFA into the ground. A lot of people look at it otherwise. And basically, yeah, the whole rundown of this is the president of all this, which is, not even the president, the chairman, by the name of Floriento Flores. That name may sound very, very familiar. If you guys are Real Madrid fans, you definitely know that's Real Madrid's new president right now. And he's also the one that is spearheading all of this. You would sit there and say to yourself, how does this even come about? The two biggest players in all of this right now, one, as I said, is Floriento Flores, which is the Real Madrid. He also doubles as the Real Madrid president. His friend JP Morgan. If you guys are into finance and you guys know about anything that has to do with money, JP Morgan is a big name. They actually threw 4.8 billion into this thing. People probably don't even realize because of due to the relationship between him and Floriento Flores is as to why this thing has been put together. Guys, as I said, I'm going to have a very special guest very, very soon. And we're going to be talking about, what it is. And, we're definitely going to break down things. I'm going to send the link. If you guys are interested in coming on the live, we will definitely be more than happy to have you on the show. Guys, just as you see right there, StreamYard.com, that is the Addy right there. And don't be shy to definitely come through to the show. Guys, thank you. I am Ghana's number one blogger. This is a very special edition of Ghana's number one blogger news. Guys, usually I don't go live at these times. It's usually on the weekend. But with this announcement of the European Super League, I just had to come on, give you guys the facts, give you the statistics behind it. Very shortly, as our guest comes through by the name of El Selector, we will definitely get down to the nitty-gritty, the money talks. I know this is why you guys are here. And, we're definitely going to chop it up and really show you where the money flows. Um, Again, if you guys didn't hear, the team names that actually joined this venture is Chelsea, Liverpool, Manchester City, Arsenal, Man United, Spurs, Real Madrid of Spain, Barcelona, Atletico de Madrid, from Italy, Juventus, AC Milan, and Inter. These are the guys that are the 12 founders of this league. Um, there's a lot of fallout. There's been a lot of news in the past 24 hours. So, guys, sit tight. As the news comes in, we will definitely let you know. El Selector is actually in the building right now. So, he's in the studio. We're going to bring him in. We're going to chime in.
What's going on? What's going on? It's your guy El Selector back at it again. How's everybody doing? What's going on, bro?
Oh, not too bad, bro. Today this is a very special edition of Ghana's #1 blogger news. This whole craziness with on Sunday, the Super League, being announced, where the two people that spearheaded this is one, the Real Madrid president by the name of Floriento Flores and JP Morgan coming together. What are your thoughts on this? Before we get into the deep and the nitty gritty of this?
Ooh, this is a very controversial topic to say the least. What can I say? It's very controversial. I think that, I think you got to mute yourself. Mute yourself real quick, guys. Yeah, the echoing. Yeah. So, this is a very controversial topic. A lot of people have been chiming in on this. It's making worldwide attention, to say the least. My take on it personally, it's kind of up in the air. A lot of people don't like it. I understand the business side of it. Like you were saying prior, JP Morgan is involved in this. For those who don't know, JP Morgan is big bank, big institution, and they're putting in billions of dollars into this. JP Morgan does have stake in a lot of these teams and whatnot, and they understand that a lot of these teams are hurting for money. So what they're trying to do is spice up things, and it's a money grab. They're trying to make money as well. But the club teams such as Juventus and Barcelona and Real Madrid, they're hurting for money right now. They're currently hurting with the pandemic going on and everything else going on. They're having financial hardship. They're having financial problems, and due to that, they're not able to make that kind of money. And on top of that, they've been kind of collapsing ever since the euro, with the whole situation with the Eurozone when that collapsed. So basically, it's been very challenging, to say the least.
Yeah, that is very true. You speaking on how a lot of these clubs have been struggling because definitely due to the pandemic. The funny thing about this situation is that
give me 1 second. I'll be right back. But continue
okay.
on without me. Continue on without me.
No problem. Yeah, as we were having a conversation, this situation has become very intense. A lot of organizations like UEFA and FIFA have looked at it as teams joining, or the 12 pack, we would say, the rebel clubs. Funny enough, if you guys are into finance, if you guys are into stocks, if you guys are into anything that is money, a few teams actually have pulled out 24 hours ago, and most recently. As of right now, I don't know if you know this, but as of this morning, Juventus's shares dropped 11%. And as Manchester United, same thing, dropped down at least 6%. Right now, I'm going to give you the rundown as to which teams have actually pulled out of the Super League. It was announced yesterday, the Big Six, which is Chelsea, Liverpool, Manchester City, Arsenal, Man United, and Spurs, actually all pulled out of the Super League. This morning, the new news that actually came out is Atletico Madrid of Spain pulled out. Inter Milan is the other team that also pulled out. Now the question is that will this Super League commence and will they continue things? Because as of right now, people kind of see the Super League, is in tatters simply because about 8 to 9 teams right now basically said, I don't want to be a part of it. Let's go into some information. Flora Benitez was actually on a show last night, and they asked him about this whole Super League situation. I believe El Selector is available right now. We're going to get right into it. Guys, just hold that for a second. I'm going to invite him in, and then we're going to continue off where I left, talking about Benito Flores and, his response to this whole Super League debacle. Selector, welcome back into the studio.
Yeah, back in. So yeah, basically, just gonna have to mute yourself just because the echoing. But basically, there is a lot going on as far as teams dropping out because of the backlash. So a lot of teams are dropping out due to the backlash. A lot of the organizations don't like it. The Premier League is upset. They're upset, and basically the Premier League is basically breaking down that they can't get involved in this. The Premier League has to approve a league. So the Premier League's basically saying if they want to go into another league, you got to get the green light from us. Premier League's like they haven't gotten the green light from us. So it's kind of like this is just an interesting situation to say the least. As far as Juventus, you said Juventus dropped out. Is that correct?
No, the two teams that dropped out this morning to add to the Big Six of England was Inter Milan of Italy and Atletico Madrid of Spain.
Oh, wow. Okay. Atletico Madrid, yeah, they dropped out. Inter Milan dropped out. I think Inter dropped out because of the backlash. I think that's what's it breaks down to, the backlash that the Super League is facing. Inter Milan, because Inter Milan was one of the teams that were for it. Because the Inter Milan is one of the teams that are hurting for cash, for those who don't know. Serie A is in shambles as far as financially. They don't have the money. The money's not there. They're upset because the last 10 years, if you look at the last 10 years, Serie A, Inter Milan won the Champions League in 2010, if I'm not mistaken. Is that correct? Yeah, are you there?
Yes, that is correct. 2010. That was actually within the same year the World Cup was hosted in South Africa.
Exactly. So Inter Milan won it in 2010. Once they won that in 2010, there hasn't been an Italian team that has even been come close to going back to even the championship. Am I correct?
That is correct. The last team that actually even made it far, I believe, the final, I don't remember what year, was the Bianconeri of Juventus.
Juventus. There you go. Juventus. So, yeah, they did with Paul Pogba and whatnot. They lost to Real Madrid with Cristiano Ronaldo. Okay. So, outside of that, though, Serie A is hurting for cash right now. They don't have the cash that – and on top of that, too, Inter Milan has been hurting. They're one of the teams that just kind of having just kind of shaky owners and just financial strays, and the whole Eurozone collapsing and the whole situation in Europe and that happened, and people not being able to get their money, and just teams all over Europe are hurting. Outside of the Premier League, that's pretty much Premier League is pretty stable as far as they're the most marketable league and they're the most stable league. All those other teams outside of the island of England on the mainland are just all hurting. They're all hurting. And this league would have helped benefit several teams, but I could see where it could have potentially damaged several teams as well, and where they're trying to go and their plans for what they have in the distant future. So it's just a tough situation. Like, I would love to see this league go on, but what's your take on it, bro? Like, just break it down. What's your take on it?
My whole take on this league, to be brutally honest, is that it would have benefited a lot of teams because, again, even before this whole pandemic, a lot of teams were struggling. If you really look at, revenues and all that stuff, again, it's been down. The thing is, remember, in this game of money, in this game of business, in the game of finance, scared money don't make no money. The purpose of being in business is to make money and not lose money. If you see um, partnerships or even situations where it could actually help you increase your brand or add to your brand, to me personally, I don't see why not. What I will say is let's get into the figures. Who are the European movers and shakers? As I said, um, there's 12 teams that were part of the Super League, and at least 8 or 9 um, basically bowed out due to the backlash. Juve also has been reported to back out of the league. Let me basically throw some numbers and figures at you. AC Milan, which is the Italian team, their value is 559 million. Their revenue is 165 million. Atletico Madrid, which is in Spain, their value right now is 1 billion. Their revenue is 368 million. Arsenal of England, their value right now is 2.8 billion, but the revenue is 430 million. We also have Barcelona, value 4.76 billion with a revenue of 792 million. Yes, the forever faithful Chelsea, that's 3.2 billion in value. Revenue 520 million. Inter Milan 743 million. Revenue 323 million. Juventus 441 1.95 billion in value and revenue 441 million. Liverpool 4.1 billion, revenue 6.1 million. A lot of people may forget LeBron James is actually a stakeholder in Liverpool. Manchester City, value 4.4 billion, revenue 609 million. Manchester United 4.2 billion, revenue 643 million. Real Madrid 4.75 billion, revenue 792 million. And then to cool things off, Tottenham Hotspur value 2.3, revenue 494 million. When you really look at the figures, it doesn't seem like these teams are hurting for money, but they really are. So this Super League idea was definitely a breath of fresh air for them. Even Florentino Flores, again, as I said, the one that spearheaded it, he even said that, real talk, if you look at all of this, it's to benefit the teams. And the thing is, they really need it going forward. But the teams have basically turned around and said, you know what? The fan base is not with it. But let me unequivocally state that this has nothing to do with the teams. Everything that is going on right now, as you see, is because of the club owners. It's the club owners that decided, hey, we want to put our team within the Super League. So now I'm going to hand it back over to you. This is basically the situation that's going on. I'm going to get into the more of the money talks. Um, Definitely, I threw the figures at you right now, but yeah, that's the way I look at things right now. It's about the money. UEFA's not happy. FIFA's not happy. FIFA has even went as far as said, you know what? If you're a player or a team that's going to be a part of this, we're basically going to disqualify you from the FIFA World Cup. And even we're going to disqualify you from the UEFA Champions League. On the other side of things, too, what sucks about the Super League is a lot of the small teams cannot benefit from this.
Wow, that's a lot of information right there. Honestly, as far as the finance goes, a question: how much is Inter and AC Milan worth?
Okay,
Revenue. How much revenue do they bring in?
when we look at the value of AC Milan is worth 559 million with a revenue of 165 million, where Juventus is also worth 1.95 billion with a revenue of 4.41 million. And when you look at that, the value of the teams and the revenue does not add up if you really look at it. You're worth the billions, but you're only making millions. How does that make any sense?
That's right. That's right. That's right. Doesn't make any sense at all. That's because they're hurting right now for cash. For those who don't know, like I said, the Italian teams are probably the Italian teams, and even Barcelona. Barcelona is having financial stray right now. Why do you think Lionel Messi is having issues with them and they want to keep Lionel Messi there and whatnot? Lionel Messi wants to leave, and they're like, oh no, if he leaves, then we lose everything. They're playing with the corpse of Lionel Messi right now. You see what I'm saying? They're not even really Lionel Messi's not even there, but he's there. It's one of those ones. So a lot of these teams, they do this for the money aspect. That's all it boils down to. JP Morgan threw out a lifeline, but the problem is UEFA. UEFA is the ones that are freaking pissed off about this, because what's going to happen is it kills their revenue and their Champions League. And there's been always talks about this Super League, but now basically, the money's there. And now UEFA's upset about it because it's going to end. Listen, UEFA, I'm not going to sit on here and pretend like, yes, UEFA does give teams like Leicester City and teams like certain teams an opportunity to go out there and make money, teams that you would never really even think of or see. It gives them that opportunity, like a Porto or, there's certain teams that because of the UEFA Champions League, it helps propel them and catapult them. So they're able to go out there and build their brand and build their organization or their leagues, like the Portuguese leagues when they have Porto and Benfica and teams like that come into this, and then teams like Shakhtar Donetsk. There's certain teams that come from different places where they're able to come in and they're able to play and build their league, which is good. It gives them that opportunity, right? But then also too, it is corrupt. There's a lot of corruption there, and there's a lot of money that could be made. The Champions League, I'm not saying it's broken, but the Champions League needs something else at this point. If UEFA could work with the Super League and create a better type of Champions League where there's more money involved and there's more at stake, I think that would help. And there's more promotional and there's some sort of it could work. I could see the Super League working, but the problem is it's just UEFA. I could see UEFA and FIFA. FIFA's, they are what they are at the end of the day. FIFA is what they are, right? But UEFA is just a problem. And honestly, people are upset. People have the herd mentality. So some people are just not fond of it. Some people, I get it. They're like, yo, I don't want to see my club not being able to compete against the Barcelonas. It kind of it separates, you know what I mean? Like it segregates certain teams. So Barcelona compete. And then FIFA's upset. FIFA is the catalyst. And they're the ones they're the ones playing the narrative and trying to make things, you know what I mean? Like they're trying to make things they're the ones who are playing that narrative and trying to make things just seem like it's going to go out of whack. And they're basically putting hard sanctions on certain teams and certain organizations, what's making them not want to even continue or not even want to partake in this. Because what can happen is if FIFA and UEFA team up together and they start putting hard sanctions on some of these teams will turn into like Wolfsburg or some of these teams you used to see back in the days out in Germany and in Russia and then like what's this other team over here that was popular in the 2000s and now they're not even they're relegated. They're like in maybe tier 2 or tier 3. You see what I'm saying? So
Yeah, you're right. Honestly, when you look at all this, it's the small teams that are going to suffer. It's the small teams that are going to luck out. So that's why it's like FIFA and UEFA were, really irate about it. Let me just get into the format of things if people don't understand the whole situation with the Super League. Basically, 12 clubs are the founding members, as I said: Chelsea, Liverpool, Man City, Arsenal, Man United, Spurs, Real Madrid, Barca, Atletico Madrid, Juve, AC, Inter Milan. Um, Basically, 20 clubs will play yearly, midweek. They would face each other, but it would be in such a format where, let's just say, It's a situation of Juve, AC Milan within their respective leagues. While they play their domestic games in X, Y, and Z, they'll also play games within that same calendar week. Going forward, clubs will be playing in two groups of 10. Um, Also, the last part of it, this is a part that a lot of people didn't talk about, but what was implemented as a part of the idea is that a women's league would have later been added on to the Super League. And the question is, I thought about it, maybe was the idea probably be put there as in probably something that's within a 2 to 5 year plan, because let's be honest, it's about equality too, right? Because I know they talk about equality in X, Y, and Z. I mean, you can't start something for the men and not start something for the women. At the end of the day, football is a global sport, and it's for everybody. It's not just for men. Let's be brutally honest. Selector, what are your thoughts on that?
My thoughts on it personally, them creating the women's league, I think makes a lot of sense because what happens is when they create the women's league, there's big bucks in gambling and in sports betting and other entities, promotional purposes. And if they can hit a genie in a ball and get or hit a good lick and get a star-studded female player that could be very marketable in maybe say a female woman from Spain or Russia or wherever in the European market over there, and they could promote her and they could make it more marketable. That makes a lot more dollars in hindsight. And what happens is it puts a lot more eyeballs on the women's as a whole. So when on the gambling side, there's a lot of money, and just promotional side, there's a lot of money. So I think it makes a lot of sense. The as far as the Super League, as far as the money makes the sense. The problem is, like I said, it's all about the dollars at the end of it. It makes sense. If you're a business entity and whatnot, all the teams know it. The only problem is the fear of the backlash and the fear of what can happen potentially next, being relegated. Like a team like maybe like a Tottenham Hotspur, they could get relegated. They could go fall into thing, and then some of their players are like, okay, you know what? Maybe this is not working out, or whatever the case may be, or I'm being relegated. So then their players might leave and go to other teams, or the teams, and then all of a sudden, what happens? Tottenham Hotspur, the organization, might be stuck in City, or sorry, not in League Two or whatever, or in Tier 2, and just sitting down there. With teams like like I don't know. There's certain teams in Team 2 over there that just can't make it back to Team 1, and then that could damage their organization as a whole.
Speaking of it damaging organizations as a whole, I know you remember former Manchester United and also England international Gary Neville. He was very outspoken about this on Monday Night Football. What he basically said, in short, was the whole situation of this is basically trying to turn it into American sports, where there's no relegation and everybody just stays at the top. And he says that, they're just making a sheer mockery of football right now. And his basis was the fans, the fans, the fans. How come the fans are not consulted? But you know what? Let's be brutally honest. I think they're just trying to use the fans as a scapegoat to just, add to everything that's going on, to be like the fans, the fans. Let's be brutally honest about something. L Selector, when when has these teams ever really consulted the fans about anything? When? Let's be brutally honest.
Personally, I haven't seen it. I think what they're doing is they're playing into the fans' emotion. So basically, them playing into the fans' emotion, the fans you got guys out in Chelsea rioting and stuff like that. But the reality is, listen, the fans should be putting pressure on FIFA for their team to be able to participate in the Super League, participate in the Champions League, and participate in their domestic league.
I totally agree with you. Let's get into more numbers. Florentino Flores, who spearheaded this whole thing, basically said that, the numbers aren't adding up. Like, if you see what teams get for winning Champions League, it's a joke. I'm gonna get into how much the Super League is willing to give each team versus what people get in Champions League. I got a list in front of me right now. The winner of this year's Champions League is gonna get 22.5 million. The runner-up is gonna get 18 million. The semifinalists will get 14 million. And when I say 14 million, that is literally the teams that haven't qualified altogether. The quarterfinalists, 12.5 million. If you make the last 16, that is 11 mil. A group stage win will net you 3.2 mil. Even let me break it down. Qualifying stage for group stage, that's about 18 million. So for example, each team is given 18 million for reaching the group stage alone. With each group stage win, it's worth 3.2 million, and a draw earning them about 1 million. Now let's go to the Super League. Super League right here. This is about $3.5 billion that's going to be pushed into the league. And each team is not going to make all equal money, but each team is said to make about 130 to about $230 million compared to 225 million. Like, come on, bro. Is there really any comparison if you really look at the numbers?
Nah, I agree with you on that standpoint. Like honestly, as far as the numbers go, like it doesn't add up. This is a tournament that is basically watched internationally all over the world. I get it. As far as UEFA's not giving the money. I wonder what the television advertisements are and the advertisement dollars and then the television deals are as well. I'm sure a lot of money comes from there as well. But UEFA's not giving that much money, man. Like that's not that much money, like compared to what they potentially should be making. So it seems like UEFA's pickpocketing a lot of the dollars themselves, and they're hoarding around and they're just selling that narrative. And what happens is these owners need to step up. I get it. These owners aren't trying to fuck up, well, part of my language, excuse my French, but they're not trying to mess up the money and stuff like that. So it's kind of like they're just going along to go along. But instead of being like, okay, you know what, uh, uh, you know, it's just an unfortunate situation. Like honestly, I'm just trying to figure out where's the money going. That's my biggest question. Where is UEFA putting all this money to? And the fact that new people are coming in and throwing in big dollars for a tournament that could help market certain specific teams. And then there's a system where teams can come in and come out. So if you lose or whatever, you get out of this tournament and another team can come in. And then on top of that, you can play for the Champions League as well. So it's like, but they're thinking about, oh, these are a threat. This is our competition. So they get FIFA, the big brother or whatever, or the brother to come in there and just come in there and kind of threaten and other threats to certain types of teams and just uttering threats overall. So which makes it challenging as well. So I don't know, man. This is just an interesting situation. But let me tell you something. A lot of these people need to start applying pressure on FIFA because even FIFA, and I'm not going to go into too much about FIFA, but I'm going to say one thing. FIFA is very funny because they pretend to care now when their dollars are involved, but when certain players might be racially attacked or racially slurred, go look at the suspensions they handle. They give out measly suspensions. They don't do anything about certain things that to help benefit their players and help end certain things that shouldn't be going on the pitch there. But instead, they come out and they start slamming their fists and slamming the table, screaming like, "Oh, if you do this and you do that, you're in trouble." But what about teams like Inter Milan? What about teams like Juventus that are hurting for cash? AC Milan, certain teams certain teams that could benefit from this kind of money. They don't care about them. FIFA's only looking out for FIFA's own best interest. At the end of the day, and a lot of people are showing their colors, how they're able to be swayed over by FIFA. And not FIFA, UEFA and FIFA. But UEFA. A lot of people are showing how they're able to be swayed over by UEFA because UEFA is able to pull this. UEFA is seeing, oh, we control these people. We even control the way they think. They're scared of us. If anything, these teams should be like, you know what, let's go to the big banks and let's see if we could just create our own super leagues where we have our teams in there. We create a whole entire new narrative. They've been around for 60 years, but their ways is old ways, old mentality. We're going into the fourth industrial revolution. We need to go into something where it's more modern, more attractive, more sexy, and it seems like UEFA is kind of stale right now. You know what I mean? Look at the Champions League right now. It's a great tournament. Yeah, it's good soccer and stuff like that, but it could be a lot better. It could be way more attractive, way more lucrative, way more better, way more, you know?
When you look at this thing, it makes me laugh because when you look at the powers that be, Floriento Flores and JP Morgan versus UEFA and FIFA, it just seems like Money Talks FC versus Bully FC. Like, who's bringing out the big guns? At the end of the day, let's be honest, money talks. Anytime you're building a business, you want to add more to the business and you want to increase your business. So it just seems like, you know what? UEFA, as you said, they're the big dogs. FIFA's the big dogs, and they want to keep it as such. Guys, you need to add style to this. Like, yo, this is the future of football. Like, there's a lot of money at stake. Again, as I said, I think the real issue here is this is that the purse strings are not being opened for UEFA and FIFA, and they've become a bunch of crybabies. Let's be brutally honest. I won't get into it much, but the whole situation with FIFA and Sepp Blatter, the reason why the scandal was broken wide open is simply because USA lost their bid for the upcoming World Cup to Qatar. And somebody decided to squeal in the association. Let's be brutally honest. Or am I wrong?
See, you're breaking down information to me. I didn't even know about that. Can you elaborate more just for the people? Because you're giving me some intel right here that I didn't even know about. I didn't read that. I didn't catch that in any of the tabloids.
So basically, the long and short of it is that when it was announced that the next World Cup would be in Qatar, what ended up happening is the FBI basically went after FIFA. And when they went after FIFA, it was in regards to being the backing of the United States Soccer Association. And what happened was one of the big dogs, I forget his name right now, but one of the big dogs in the U.S. Soccer Association was brought in. He basically squealed on everybody. One of the guys he did squeal on within CONCACAF because CONCACAF is an organization for North America, Central America, and the Caribbean, and basically said, okay, this is what's going on. These are the players that are basically moving money around, and basically, case in point, that's when everything basically. I believe there was a conference in Geneva, Switzerland, and that's when literally everybody got rounded up. Going forward, even to the specific, U.S. official that I'm speaking in, but I don't remember his name because there's a lot of information. But funny enough, the guy that squealed, can you believe? I believe it's at Trump Towers in New York. This guy had a penthouse, and it wasn't just any penthouse. It was literally a penthouse for his cats, bro. The man would go to his penthouse and feed his cats. And that place was for them. While he had a place, who knows where it was. You know what? I need to find his name because he's the reason why everything turned into what it was. He squealed on everybody. And I believe he ended up getting a light sentence or something like that. But let me just look it up. I want to hear your views on that situation because this situation I haven't spoke on. But yeah, it's because of a situation like that is why FIFA is the way it is now. Yes, we know FIFA is X, Y, and Z. Everybody knows this. But yes, I'm gonna bring it right back to you, L Selector. L Selector, we can't hear you. Your mic.
Oh, sorry about that. Yeah, so yeah, you just broke down some information to me. I knew nothing about that. I heard absolutely nothing about it. But the fact that that is going on, and this is a person that's a part of FIFA, is that correct?
The person that actually squealed is somebody from within the USA Football Association.
And the who squealed on FIFA individual or UEFA individual?
He squealed on people within the US Football Association, CONCACAF, and also squealed on guys within UEFA like Michael Platini And basically, it turned into a crazy money trail where even Sepp Blatter was involved. And as a result, Sepp Blatter is no more the president of FIFA, and now it's Gianni Infantino.
Okay. So you can see there's a lot of corruption going on just overall over there. If with FIFA, and FIFA's running around here threatening, uttering threats, telling teams, "Hey, if you get this guy or you get that guy, we're not going to keep you. You're not going to be able to play in the world you're not going to be able to play in the World Cup. You're not going to be able to play. You're going to be you're going to be banned from Champions League, and you're going to be banned from a Europa League." Dude, it's almost kind of like these guys are playing gatekeepers, and they're almost like a situation where it's like, how would I say it? It just seems like a situation where this seems like FIFA is just trying to, and UEFA are working in cohetes to make sure that nobody else makes money outside of those two entities right there. And this is a problem. This is a problem. And I don't understand. I understand people, and I understand where domestically, because now the domestic teams are getting upset because they make a lot of money. Like, I understand EPL's issue. Like, oh, flip. Now we got to deal with UEFA. We got to deal with FIFA. We're gonna have issues with our players. I understand why teams like PSG is like on the fence and like, oh no, we're just gonna mess with UEFA. We already got a lot of money. We're the Qatar guys, and we got paper. Some say we got oil money, so we're not lacking for money. We're not there hurting. Our money game is strong. We got a chokehold on France, and we got a chokehold on the oil money and whatnot, and we also marketing and all this other stuff. We're making money. I get that standpoint, but then you got to look at teams like Juventus. Then you got to look at teams like Inter, AC Milan. These are teams that are not making that kind of money. You see what I'm saying? So that could be a challenge right there. You know what I mean? Like. And then on top of that, too, they can't attract the players that a PSG can attract or Man City can attract. You see what I'm saying? Or you get where I'm coming from? So it's just like it's just like they have to fix the system, man.
You're right. Let's be brutally honest. I just want to get back to the whole situation between the United States Soccer Federation and the whole FIFA. The guy that was actually the whistleblower, you should check him out. I believe, you know what? At a later time, we can get definitely deep into that case. It happened in 2015. There was a lot of fallout from it, but I think for the viewers, it's only fair to actually take a show and break down everything. But basically, long and short of it, his name is Chuck Blazer. Basically, he used to be the executive vice president of USA Soccer, CONCACAF secretary. Yeah, that dude, he did a lot of shit. Let's just put it that way. Excuse my language, but yes, Chuck Blazer is literally the one that broke stuff wide open. So yeah, that's basically the long and short of it. Check out Chuck Blazer.
Yeah, definitely. I'll definitely check them out. It's just like, man, what's your take on like how literally the media in Britain and London or in the English media is basically going out and just like pulverizing this idea, even though not looking at the standpoint of like, okay, how this idea will help some of our teams economically, but we need to figure out a way where they could play in FIFA and in UEFA and still be able to profit off of all of that. Because it's all, at the end of the day, the more they play, the better it is for the fans, and the better it is for the product too. You see what I'm saying? Because it gives more people, more eyeballs on your team. You see what I'm saying? Like you have more incentives. You go in the Champions League, you win the Super League, you win this league, you win that league. It's like they just want their Super League to be or their Super Championship to be two squads. You see what I'm saying? Or their Club World Cup, like they're, what I mean, their UEFA Europa League, UEFA Tournament Championship game, and then the Club World Cup. Like that's what they want. That's all they want, and they're satisfied. I get it, for sure. You guys don't want change, but the world is changing. You see what I'm saying? And teams got to get. Listen, I'm not against the Super League because I understand the purpose behind it, and I understand how it's going to help certain teams and how it's going to better the game. But I'm also understand I'm with the club teams as well. I'm not with UEFA and I'm not with FIFA. I'm with the club teams as well. I understand their gripe and their issues as well. So it's kind of like UEFA is just scared of competition, what it looks like.
Yeah, they are. Point blank. I'm gonna have to play devil's advocate for a second. The one part I feel like we didn't touch upon in this conversation, and just looking at all platforms, even Pontiffs having a conversation. I think essentially, do you know who suffers in all of this the most? Is the farm animals. And no, I'm not, I have to refer to them as farm animals. No disrespect to you guys, but yo, the players are going to suffer. Because think about it. You're playing back to back games in your domestic league. That's one. You're playing cup games within your league. On top of that, you're playing Champions League, you're playing Europa League. And then let's just say you're an international for Portugal, Ghana, whatever you name it. And then now you also got to play a Super League on top of your schedule. My question is, how about the injuries? And is there any insurance on these players? And also looking at, players getting injured, the time frame of them coming back. Has anybody looked at these things? And shout out to Omari Styles, man. Salute, boys. Great destruction. Great discussion. Definitely don't be shy. If you want to come in, chime in, let us know. But have they had a discussion about injuries, insurance and everything? Because essentially, I think that is one of the focal points of this. And they haven't touched on about it. I'll Selector, how do you feel about that?
I agree with you on that standpoint because the load is heavy. Like I get it. There's a lot of football. Like nowadays, I get it. Sports science is there and stuff, and guys are dropping like flies. Guys are getting injured. They have to play their EPL. Then they have to play their little. They have to play the EPL, or they have to play this. They have to play. Then they have to play little tournaments against. Yeah, I think you're on mute right now. I think you're on mute.
Oh, apologies. Guys, right now, I just wanted to reset this chat. This is Ghana's #1 blogger news. We're talking Money Talks FC. We're talking about the Super League, the 12 members, Chelsea, Liverpool, Man City, Man United, Spurs, Real Madrid, Barca, Atletico Madrid, Juve, AC Milan, and Inter, basically creating a league. But unfortunately, the Big Six of England have decided to bow out due to the backlash from the fans. Atletico Madrid has also pulled out, Inter and Juve. At this point, actually, it looks like, the Super League right now is in shambles because there's only about 3 or 4 teams left in this. And yes, El Selector, unfortunately, you're having little mic issues. So, I just wanted to go into a few things for people that, weren't originally here, but continue from where you left off.
Yeah, for sure. Definitely. Yeah, like I was saying before, before the issues going on there. But yeah, basically, yeah, the Super League, like I said, I think personally, if the fans don't like it and the fans don't love it, then cool, I get it. As far as injuries go, though, what we were talking about, injuries are a part of the game. They're going to happen. You're right. The wear and tear will put a lot of strength on players. This is why they need to make sure, like you said, they have to have backup players and front players. Teams need to start promoting. This is why it's so important. I get it. Stars are drives leagues. Like you're gonna have the Cristiano Ronaldos and certain kind of guys that people are gonna pay big bucks to see, and people are always gonna want to see. And I get it. He's not gonna. He's gonna. But then you're gonna have the guys like of course the Neymars and the Mbappes that are gonna play, and they're gonna what I mean. You don't want them to tear down and break. You don't want to turn into like what do you call it Owen over there. Like a young stud who ended up just falling from grace, right? So basically, you're going to have to also promote and have other young talented players and other players as well from the farm system come up and play certain games and certain times just to keep things afloat. It's so important to develop, which they're doing. Of course, they're doing in Europe. They do it. They have developed. It depends. Some places may be better than others. Of course, they get or import players from the Asias, Africas, and the South Americas and the North America, the Americas as a whole, and the islands and stuff like that. They get guys from everywhere at this point. You know what I mean? So, but at the same time, though, development is going to be key. Personally, I think it's very important. And when it comes to the Super League, I think they're going to need to find a way or a solution. If that happens, where they're going to have certain players. I don't know. See, this is where I'm even thinking about it now, and it's just like, is this league gonna even happen? It might not even happen. So this is kind of hypothetical right now because we don't even know what's going on. We're just sitting out. We're still waiting. We're getting news as it comes. You see what I'm saying? So this is an interesting case to say the least.
You see, the funny thing about this whole Super League situation is what a lot of people are not saying is that there were a lot of backroom conversations. And in terms of the conversations, it was basically the owners of these various clubs and Floriento Flores. There was no input from the team, as in the players. There was no input from the coach. There was no input from the fans. Like literally everybody was left in the dark. It was just basically like you're gonna play in a Super League, but they didn't know. Just like we got news and word that the Super League was gonna come together on Sunday, it's just the same as the players and coaches. I don't know if you've noticed on Monday, a lot of the teams that were part of this whole Super League situation. Did you know the funny thing is that a lot of teams didn't really play to their liking. I noticed that a lot of teams were affected. Did you notice that on Monday night? I mean, my team, Chelsea, had a 0-0 draw with a team that, usually they would beast on. What do you got to say about that, Mike?
Yeah. Hey, man, there's a lot. Sometimes there's a lot going on behind the scenes. You just, is that, sometimes it's just like, bro, it's hard to just, bro, it's one of them days in the, sometimes it's just like that, bro. There's a lot going on. It doesn't even matter who wins or lose. You don't even think, you forget even the game that you're playing, but you're not playing. Your mind is elsewhere. Everyone's just sitting around. Guys are on even the managers are trying to figure out. They're like, yo, I don't know. Can we just end this quickly? I think it was one of those right there, bro.
And Leeds actually yesterday, they decided to actually come out on the pitch with shirts on the front that said Champions League, and the message under the shirt was "Earn it," and on the back it says "Football is for fans." I always find it funny whenever there's a situation where it doesn't benefit, teams and stuff. That's when they want to really put on for the fans. In actuality, I feel like they don't really call out the fans as much. I feel like they use the fans as a crutch. I gotta be honest, man. I feel like they use the fans as a crutch. They're really not in it for the fans. How do you feel, El Selector? Do you really feel like they're in it for the fans?
Nah, when it comes to FIFA and UEFA, they're in it for their pockets, man. It's all about the money game, like we said. This is all money talks right here. And when it comes to the money, listen, it's all about the money at the end of the day. You see what I'm saying? Like their goal right now in this pandemic, because a lot of teams lost money. They can't even get people in the stadiums.
That's true.
They can't get people in the stadiums.
On the other side of things, I'm gonna bring two more things to your attention. Now I even hear the NFL is talking, the NBA is talking. Like, yo, what's going on in the Super League? And also on that side too, LeBron is a shareholder in English side Liverpool. Tell me what's going on with that.
Yeah, as far as the NBA and the NFL talking about it, they're intrigued. They want to see, when the money, because listen, we're all at the end of the day, they're all in the sports entertainment industry. So when they see one of their brethrens or one of their leagues or leagues that they might invest in or leagues that are, that they have, of course, they know about, they study their philosophy and stuff like that. Like, they we won't they're not competitors, but they kind of are, together at the end of the day. Like, let's be real. Sports leagues all watch each other. They all research each other. They all see what they're doing. They all look at the books. They all want to know what's profitable, what's the next wave, where's things are going in society, and how they can switch up things to benefit them, or how they can learn from lessons. So everybody's monitoring what's going on with the Super League. The Super League, I'm telling you right now, if the Super League is done right, a lot of other sports will adopt that kind of ideology. NBA talked about something like that prior. People don't know. In the early 2000s, in the mid 2000s, I remember in 03, 04, you know what I mean? And them talking about creating a sort of Super League-esque type thing where basically they will play teams in Europe and they'll play teams overseas and Europe, and they'll have domestic tournaments. And the NBA needs something to spice it up. This is long overdue. NBA needs even a Champions League style type tournament
And
where the
Euro
winner
money
of
is
the
good money, bro. Euro money.
exactly. That's what I'm saying. They could get the best team in Italy, the best team in Turkey, the best team in Russia, the best team in Spain, and then the best team in China, the best team in Australia, and all the leagues around the world, Dominican Republic, Brazil, and they can have a tournament. And they could have a knockout style tournament. Adam Silver even addressed saying, "Yo, I'm thinking about doing it." It's just as of right now, the NBA is losing money. There's a lot of money being lost in the NBA, and then also too this pandemic, and then also too the viewership in the NBA has been plummeting, and it's just like they need ways to figure out how to get this money, to make this money and make money off of the league, and how they can make new money and generate new profits. That's why they're heavily invested in China. People sleep on China. China is, I advise anyone, if you're into marketing and you're promoting and just you have product, China is somewhere you need to look at, because Chinese are ready. They got big dollars, and they're invested in a lot of things. Tom Brady of the NFL he went out to China, and when he was on China, he said, "Bro, they're watching what we're doing, and this is a market we got to start attacking, because this is a market that got 1 billion plus people, and they're becoming the world power. Like, they're producing, manufacturing, and creating a lot of different things over there, and it's kind of like, this is a team that this place less than soon we have over here, and they're ready to support, and they use their money. Their money talks for them. They don't talk. Their money talks. You see what I'm saying? So definitely a great idea. I personally think it's something that needs to be done, and I think the Super League, a lot of other leagues are just looking and observing, and maybe even thinking about investing into it. They want to see how this goes. They see the money involved, and they're like, well, I'll tell you right now, when that money comes in, and these teams are getting billions of dollars, their revenue, some of these teams' revenues are like what, $200 million, $100 million, 300 million, 400 million. Now you're getting billions, man.
That's close. That's literally in the ballpark of your net worth.
Shoots their net worth up. That shoots everything up. But what's happening is UEFA, FIFA are not having it. They're the main catalyst behind, and they're upset about it. And it's just like, now it just seems like it's only what, Barcelona and Real Madrid, the only teams left in the Super League, All these other teams are backfiring and running away from this idea. And the funny thing is, they spoke about this. I had heard them speak about this several years ago, about potentially creating some sort of league that could generate more profits, because we're not making as much profits as we could potentially. We're not maximizing our revenue from this.
And Jurgen Klopp actually spoke on that. It's true. You're right. One more thing I definitely like to add. Also in the news, funny enough, when we're talking about money being thrown at this league, we talked about JP Morgan sponsoring the league with 4.8 billion, and then TV revenues and everything in X, Y, and Z. Remember, money makes money. If you're coming in with big money, big money will follow. Amazon, Apple, Facebook, we're looking to get in on this too. The big boys. What do you think about that? I mean, personally, I'm not surprised.
Just another way for them to add to their portfolio, which makes a lot of sense. There's billions of dollars involved. Marketing, advertisement, Apple and Amazon are really trying to get into new endeavors and new industries, as they should. At this point, they have to diversify and put money in different places and have money coming in from different places. So it makes a lot of sense economically for them. Amazon and Apple are great places to start with. Amazon is like the number one, basically, I would say the number one e-commerce business in the world. Apple is the number one tech company in the world. So both are tech companies technically as well too. They're both are the juggernauts out here. They're probably in the top 5 juggernauts tech companies in the world. So it just makes so much sense for both of them to get involved. There's so much money that could be made, but people don't realize. People are looking at it from that standpoint. They have to look at it from the money standpoint. I understand injuries and players not playing, but the money is where it makes sense. As an investor, we're looking at, people need to understand. There's 3 ways you could look at it. You can look at it from the eyes of a hardcore, Chelsea fan, or a hardcore Sevilla fan, or a hardcore, Porto fan, or whatever. Or you can look at it from a traditional standpoint, where you're looking at it from, oh, I love the Champions League, I love Europa, I love the style, I don't want to fix it, I want to make sure my players can play in FIFA. Or you can look at it from the economic standpoint, a business standpoint, a money standpoint, where it's like, I want to see how much profits we can maximize as my team can maximize, and how bigger this sport can become, and how much more money it can become. How much more money, because there's a lot of money. Don't leave money off the table. If there's money there, you have to come to a solution and get that taken care of. And you have to sit down. People have to start holding FIFA accountable. That's the problem. FIFA is not being held accountable for a lot of the BS they get away with. And so is UEFA. UEFA is not being held accountable. People will sit down here and turn their eye away from what FIFA's doing. But once the big banks come in, all of a sudden now big bank, big small bank, now they're all scared. These guys are playing with peanuts. JP Morgan's playing with it's the whales. You know what I mean? You see what I'm saying? FIFA's the snakes. Now the whales come through. You see what I'm saying? You could be a snake. You could be a snake, but now all of a sudden the rare dragon comes through. What the hell is a dragon comes through? Now the dragons are coming through. You see what I'm saying? With the big bucks. Shouts to Dragons Den. The big bucks are coming through now. Now they're looking at you guys like, you guys are the snakes, man. You know what I mean? We're the dragons. We got fat cats over here. We're guys. You guys wear suits. Now we wear suits. You see what I'm saying? We're in the office. We're in the office. So, you know what I mean? We already got shares in some of this, but now we don't want you guys no more. Now we want more. So I would love to see this happen with the NBA. I'd love to see the Toronto Raptors playing a team out in a CSK Moscow or Benfica or one of them basketball teams over there, and just getting big bucks and promoting the squad even more, and seeing players get even more money, because more money goes into players' pockets.
So, with the Super League on the verge of collapse, my thing to you right now, my question is that what should they do right now? What should the solution be? Should they just close up shop? Rest in peace, DMX, by the way. Should they close up shop, or should they go back to the table and find a way to integrate UEFA and FIFA and basically give them money to shut up?
Part one, like you said, should they go away? Personally, I wouldn't. I would try to start talking with FIFA and UEFA. I don't think they should just flat out go away. I think the idea is a clever idea. I don't think they should flat out go away. I think the idea works. And listen, some teams are upset, but I think if they can play in the World Cup, they can play for their international team, and then they can play. Because listen, the international team helps a lot of these players' profiles. So they need to play for their national. You gotta play. You gotta play for your international team. The Champions League, yes, it does help with the profile because it helps historically and also financially. It does help teams, and then also too, the Champions League also helps. It also helps propel certain. It also helps individuals. Stars are born off the Champions League. You see what I'm saying? So the Champions League does help as well. Also, domestic leagues help as well because it helps domestically. It helps build players. It helps build. It helps build. Well, teams like Manchester City, teams like PSG, teams like you know what I mean with good foundations, good money, good quality players, good marketing. They know how to promote their players. They know how to, and it helps them like with their players domestically as well. The Super Cup will also help teams that organizations that are able to make even more money. So what happens is everybody's eating. They just got to come up with a solution. This is not a bad idea. People think it's a bad idea. It's not a bad idea. Champions League can still exist. The Champions League, Super League can still exist too. Certain teams will leave the champion. Sure, it may diminish the Champions League a bit. It may push the Champions League down, and it won't be looked at as the ultimate league, but it still will help with that league as a whole. And I think that's something that people need to consider. And I think JP Morgan has the money to do that. These big banks are not playing. Trust me. When the big banks come, they come. The whales come. When the whales come, you see what I'm saying? The whales are taking everything out. If they want to take everything out, trust me, JP Morgan can come out with a strategic strategy in 10 years, control everything. So you got to work with them. You got to work with them.
And if you don't work with them, you're eventually going to get put out.
Exactly.
Thank you, L Selector, for coming to the very special edition of Ghana's number one blogger news, Money Talks FC. We were talking about the Super League. We're talking about the 12 teams that joined. 8 to 9 teams just recently dropped out due to the public backlash. And as a result, there's about 3 or 4 teams. Now the question is the Super League said and done? I mean, it's obvious right then and there. As you know, the UEFA Champions League is still in full steam. And as of right now, they have reached the semifinal portion with Real Madrid facing Chelsea, which is going to be April 27th, and Paris versus Manchester City the next day, April 28th. These are definitely going to be barn burner games. We're definitely going to be doing a prediction show, me and L Selector. So, guys, you know what? Stay tuned. And yes, football is forever. And at the end of the day, I don't see why not, adding new things, because one thing that's evident about life is there's always going to be change. And understand that the only thing constant in life is change. I am Ghana's number one blogger, and this is your guy, El Selector. Guys, before we go, El Selector, just share where people can find you on social media, even share your page. Even if you're willing to send me the link, I'll definitely put it in the description and also read across our screens so everybody can know about El Selector. Go ahead.
Yeah, my guy, El Selector. Hit me up on, you can see me on YouTube. Social medias will be coming soon. And yeah, that's it.
El Selector, thank you once again. Money Talks FC Super League, man. Thanks again. Ghana's number one blogger, man. We out.